Hi friends, welcome to April favorites, and I'm warning you, this will be a makeup heavy month because I anticipated that it would be, considering that we had the Sephora sale, Mineralscapes released, and by far one of my most exciting makeup months yet. But I wanted to get into a few lifestyle favorites, as I like to do for my monthly roundup, and you might think this one quite random, but I was in my clean bag, as I mentioned, Melissa Maker's YouTube channel, Clean My Space, as an adult who learned how to clean later in her life, did not grow up knowing how to clean the bathroom, the kitchen, and other spaces. I picked up quite a few tips from Clean My Space, but like anything, once you do something for the first time, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, you're like, I don't like this. But the more I did it, the better I found my groove. I experimented, I identified, okay, that works, that doesn't. But something that I thought was integral to cleaning the bathroom and also laundry was my floor fan. Yes, not only does this serve the purpose of cooling me throughout the night, during winter as well, because I am a hot sleeper, it is essential in ensuring that bathroom cleaning day is not a laborious task and that my laundry, those items that have to be air dried, are dried quickly. Allow me to explain. When it comes to the bathroom, my space doesn't have a ceiling fan and it's not a huge space. There's not much ventilation. There's not a window in there. And when moisture builds, you know how moisture can be a problem when you let it settle on surfaces, not allowing it to evaporate. It could cause a lot of trouble, bacteria proliferation, smells, and materials will break down faster over time, I think, when moisture is left on those surfaces. And this is something I learned from Melissa after using the bathroom, taking a shower, which on my part are not hot and long because my skin is sensitive to hot water. My showers have been lukewarm for the last year or so and short. Even after those sessions, I run my fan pointed towards the tiles, toward the bathtub, and allow the moisture to evaporate and the tiles and tub as well as shower curtain to dry completely. So when bathroom cleaning time arrives, it's not like I am on my knees scrubbing soap scum and residue off these surfaces. It's quite easy to clean. And also on wash day, if you know wash day is an event. It can be long, and I am in the shower longer, significantly so than my daily shower routine, and there's a lot of moisture that builds up when I'm done. And from a practical standpoint, timeline wise, I need to get these twists going, so I just need the space to air out and the mirror to defog. Running that fan once I'm out the shower helps tremendously to cool down the space, to cut down on the moisture, and just to help the space dry faster in not letting that moisture again settle on the different surfaces in the bathroom that just cannot take it. And why I keep all of my makeup in my bedroom, because powders and all that stuff will just develop mold in a space like the bathroom. And as I mentioned, the floor fan comes in clutch with laundry. I blow it on my clothes rack after I hung everything after the wash cycle. And also, listen, when you train and you sweat, it is not a good idea to put your clothes still damp from that session in the hamper. My hamper's in the closet, enclosed environment and dark. You know what that's ideal for? The bacteria. Wouldn't it be a shame when you wash your clothes and they still come out stinky? Because if you just let clothes sit in the dark, warm space, still damp, what do you think is going to happen? I make sure I hang my clothes up, run that fan if I need to, dry the clothes first, maybe rinse them depending on how sweaty you get, and then you put it in a hamper. That will ensure that you might not have to wash your clothes for another cycle or use harsher detergents to get the smell out. All these little steps to take, preliminary steps along the way, I call them clean maintenance steps. I just think makes our lives significantly easier when it comes to the actual cleaning day, to the actual laundry day, and something as simple as a floor fan has just made a positive impact on all these chores and all these tasks that I had to share in terms of my sleep, my laundry, and my bathroom cleaning, heck, even the kitchen if it needs a little bit of wafting out, because yes, I have a window in the living room, but as I mentioned, don't have a window in the bathroom, and that floor fan really has saved the game for me. So I just thought I'd share. And as I mentioned, wash day, twists are looking good, fam. The length is there. I can now tie my twists up, albeit not the higher ones that sit closer to the crown of my head, but the lower ones I can get into my satin scrunchie. Okay, no longer are we losing those elastic bands. I wanted to share a few hair products that have been tremendously helpful in my twist journey. And I understand why people spend so much money in Target, because I think you encounter products that you mostly see online. When you see it in person, you're like, oh wow, let me get it. One of those products was the Camille Rose Naturals Honeydew Liquid Moisture Refresher. I'm almost done with this thing. This is a great product. Initially, I wasn't crazy about the fragrance because I should have known. Honeydew, it does smell sweet. Initially a little off-putting, a little too sweet for me, but I got used to the scent. What would stand out for me, however, it was the lightweight nature of this formula, that it still felt like water, but it is a leave-in conditioner. And what I use before I go in with my good old Blue Magic. Blue Magic is a petroleum-based product, and I know people don't like Vaseline and whatever, but listen, I've been using this for months now. After some sort of leave-in, I'll spray this on, put on the Blue Magic, and then I follow with Pattern's Mousse, which I recently purchased in their Palo Santo scent, and I like it. I do prefer the original Pattern scent because that one is a little more flowery sweet, and I think they wanted to integrate the more woodsy quality of Palo Santo, but in this formula or fragrance profile, for me, it smells more soapy than woodsy. I don't know if that makes much sense to you, but I like it. I'm going to use it because mousse for me and setting my twist, I think practical in ensuring my hair dries faster, especially if I'm twisting near my bedtime. And I do like my twists to be mostly dried, because if they're not, they'll get squashed under my silk bonnet and end up flat the next morning. So I'm trying to avoid that. But that has been my trifecta of products that I use for my twists as of late, and I've been loving how they turn out. They look shiny, juicy, plump, and the hair looks healthy. And after I wash my hair, and yes, I do throw in a leave-in while I'm in the showers in order for it to distribute better as the water runs through, my hair just has this shine, bounce, and elasticity to it. It looks and feels healthy. It has like a nice spongy feel to it. It doesn't feel dry. And I compare that to how my hair felt before I got my curly cut December last year. The requirement is that you show up to the salon with washed hair with no product in there. When I washed my hair, and I brought along my microfiber towel because I was the Equinox at the time before heading over to the salon. When I squeezed dried my hair, it felt dry, just brittle. It was shrunken and uneven. Now it just is not that. It's even still. It's growing into the cut. I do realize, however, I need to trim my ends, and that is something I'm looking to do. I will have to blow it out in order to see the ends and see where I need to cut. But those have been my hair products of choice thus far, and I've been sticking to this trifecta, and I absolutely adore what it has been doing to my hair and how it leaves my twists looking. And I wanted to share that because I know hair products can. It can overwhelm the senses. There are a ton out there, and everything claims to be great for your hair, to be life-changing for your hair. I think it's just a matter of what works for you, what you can tolerate in terms of the texture, of the fragrance. But the standout item for sure that I was surprised about, definitely the Camille Rose Naturals. And in general, Camille Rose Naturals, I've used their products extensively at one point. Exceptional line, solid from the cleansers all the way through styling. And I don't know how new this is, a honeydew line, in comparison to the original original line. I'm unsure when this released originally, but I am a fan of the Honeydew line. I don't know if I'll pick up anything from this sub line, but we'll be repurchasing this liquid moisture refresher 100%. It moisturizes without feeling heavy, it provides slip, it detangles, and it's a great base before going in with my Blue Magic, and it works exceptionally well with the pattern Mousse, where my product, or rather where my hair doesn't feel product heavy. It has the product in there, but it still looks slick, shiny, and just is thriving. My hair's thriving, and I'm just very happy about the situation. Now we're off to the makeup. I have to start off with this product because I recently filmed my full face of Pat McGrath. I realized that her Divine Skin Rose 001 essence has been working out for my skin. I was using my Sourdough essence as well as my Peach and Lily moisturizer for my makeup prep step, but when using the Divine Skin essence, I was like, this is pretty nice under foundation. It makes my skin look cushiony and milky in terms of texture, incredibly smooth, and the way foundation lays on top, I think it provides that extra emolliency and just blendability to foundation textures. I haven't used it with my Suku foundation, but what I did use it under was the Prada Foundation. I stand corrected on the Prada Foundation. I do. I initially said I wasn't a fan of it because of how it sat on my skin after 2 hours of wear. I think it was largely due to maybe my skin wasn't prepped enough, perhaps the foundation wasn't blended in enough, a variety of factors that could have contributed to the poor set the Prada Foundation left behind. But now I'm a believer. I'm a believer of the Prada Foundation because I think of how I apply it and the fact that I applied it over the Divine Skin, which I liken the Prada Foundation to the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Foundation. They're similar in texture. The Prada may not be as liquidy as the Sublime Skin, but close enough in terms of consistency. The Pat McGrath Foundation has alcohol, but the Prada Foundation has fragrance. If only the Prada Foundation didn't have the freaking fragrance, and it made me sneeze. It made me sneeze alongside the essence, which has a rose scent to it. It was a little bit of an onslaught today applying my makeup, but it was okay. It was all for the sake of the milky skin look. Despite that, I am now heavily eyeing the Prada Foundation. Hello friends, a kind reminder to like this video if you are enjoying the content so far, and consider subscribing at the end if you want to see more of me on your recommendations list. And with that said, back to the April favorites. I'm not in a rush to buy it because it's not limited. It's a permanent product within the Prada Beauty line, and I think I wanted to dismiss it at first, much like I did with the Dior Glow Maximizer, since I didn't want to spend money and I just wanted to hate it. I wish that I hated it, but I don't. We'll get into the Glow Maximizer in a minute. I didn't want to buy the foundation because I was seduced by the Prada Soft Matte Lipstick, which I have on now in caramel, the eye dimension quads that I have in 03 Pulse. Completely and utterly in love with Prada Beauty. I knew I would be, and why I held back. They did release in the States this past January, but I think they released earlier in Europe. And when I saw the eye dimension quads, there was something about the curation, the color selection, the way the quads were constructed to mimic the Prada logo, and how they looked incredibly unique. And the fact that each quad houses, I believe, 4 different eyeshadow formulas within the same compact. The compact itself is absolutely beautiful. In here, I have Poetry, one of my most favorite. And again, as I mentioned, I applied Pulse here on the eyes today for the video. I will be collecting all of them. Yes, I will be. Is that insanely impractical? Absolutely. But man, I would rather save my money and not spend it on other eyeshadows that release from near on to the end of the year and just save for the Prada. Each and every time I use these shadows, seamless, easy. There's something about the texture, especially the powwow color here. It's almost like a fabric, very lightweight and easy to blend, where it can serve as just a veil of color. And that's what Ivan was explaining, one of the Prada Beauty artists that did my makeup at the Nordstrom event, where it was purposely formulated to be more lightweight so the user doesn't feel intimidated in including that color if they wanted into their eye look. They could just brush it across any of the more neutral shades here and it will show up faintly, but not overwhelm the look as if it was super pigmented like a matte eyeshadow. If you were to apply a matte eyeshadow that looked like this, it would just look like a splotch of color. And for someone who's more everyday in terms of their makeup routine and makeup selection, that's just not going to work. But if you have a formula that's more lightweight in nature, that's easily blendable and not super pigmented, but has room to build in terms of color intensity, then that's what the product gives. And I think it's just stunningly gorgeous. I mean, I cannot speak highly enough of Prada Beauty, and I know I'm late in the game, but that doesn't matter because I'm sure most of you already have it, and if you haven't been using it, my goodness, get back in, especially with the foundation. If you're wondering and are my skin twin, I am N60 in the foundation. It is my skin tone exactly. If I do get a little tan, I wouldn't go up because unfortunately, this is where foundation and myself get a little If I go a shade up in the Prada, it just looks muddy on my skin because if I stay within the neutral category of things, it appears too dull. And if I go warmer but a shade higher, I think I would appear too golden. So I'm sticking to MN60 for now because I think it is an excellent match, and I rather just use other products within the cheek category in my collection to adjust the warmth a little bit if I need to. And again, caramel. Unfortunately, my caramel broke, so I smushed it and placed it in a jar. But this has been like my everyday go-to color. And I also have Sedona, which is just beautiful, and I think also serves as my everyday moment if I could find it, for crying out loud. Sedona is giving a little more red, just a little more red, but I consider them to be the same. My Lips But Better, except Sedona is My Lips But Better warmer, and Caramel, My Lips But Better more cool brown. And the feel, cushiony, soft, much like a tinted balm, but more matte and not drying at all. And I did not forget about Hourglass Sparrow. That lipstick, the unlocked soft matte lipstick. This is in Peachy, which I love to wear with Sparrow. This might have to be, alongside the Prada, my top picks for lipstick so far, 2024. I have to go through all of them, but so far, woo, my goodness, you can't go wrong with the roses and the cool brown. You can't go wrong with them. Same within complexion, I have to mention the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter as well as the Forever Glow Maximizers. I have both Peachy and Rosy. It took everything in my power to not buy nude and bronze. It was a few days before the sale ended, and I looked at how much I already spent on makeup and said, hey, you have these shades. They are absolutely gorgeous. Sure, would nude and bronze be just stunningly gorgeous? Yes. But I am truly happy with these shades and happy that I have two, because to have more than these will be a little crazy at this point. But going back to the Star Filter, this formula is excellent. Yes, it has fragrance, which is an advantage Auric has over the Dior. Auric is not fragrant, Dior is, but I like the pump on this better. It's not as stiff, which means I can control how much product presses out. Unlike the Auric, it's like too much of a pump. I get too much product and I'm like, my gosh, what am I gonna do with all this, with this glow lust? 3N also is a fantastic shade that I can wear all over under foundation or dab on to the high points of my cheeks for that highlight effect. It's silky on the skin. It provides a nice foundation for that luminosity and just that soft focus finish, especially depending on what you choose to mix it with. When I mix the Star Filter, and shout out to, yes, I made sure to save the comment in order to give the shout out. Thank you for suggesting that I cocktail these two together, because mixing the Dior filter and the Danessa glowing balm or blurrings, I'm making up products, the skin blurring balm, what a fantastic mixture of complexion products, because the more soft matte nature that comes from skin blurring and now the luminosity and just more fluidity that comes from the star filter, match made in heaven. And especially if you are more on the oily skin part of the spectrum and you were unsure if the Dior filter can fit well into your complexion routine, if you mix it with the blurring balm, good things will happen. And with the glow maximizers, I actually applied it today on top of Blooming Romance, which of course will be a favorite in this video, alongside a cocktail of Pat McGrath's Divine Colourbalm Glow Stick in Sunkissed Seduction and the LYS Glow Blush in Focus. I pounced everything on today, but I applied Peachy on the lower part of my face, and my goodness, the blendability of these glow maximizers just leaves me without words. It virtually melts. That is the exact verb to use in describing how this product functions on my skin. Anything you apply the glow maximizer on top, it's not going to take away the product, it's not going to move it, it won't appear splotchy, it won't appear uneven, it just melts and further enhances the color and the highlight effect on your face. And if you're worried about the texture, yes, because it is a liquid product, it might enhance that texture if it sits lower on your cheeks, but maybe apply blush powder first and then the glow maximizer on top, and perhaps the powder will help to not accentuate the texture as much. I'm trying to advocate for all skin types, no matter where you are in the skin condition spectrum, to try the glow maximizer because it is life-changing. And you can see from the reviews, I mean, these products have thousands of 5-star reviews. It's insane. One of the most successful product launches, I think, of this year in the cheek complexion category. Dior just hit it out of the park. They hit it out of the park, not only with the formula itself, but with the color selection. Exceptional for both the star filter and the glow maximizers. We're moving on. You know how I feel about these products. And let me mention again, this is not a new product, although new colors were added to the lineup. I recently discovered the best way, in my opinion, to apply the Divine Glow Stick, and that's to warm it up on the back of your hand, stamp it on your face. And I know Pat released the glow version of the Colourbalm stick, so I decided, well, what if I mix these two together? So I mixed together Pat's and LYS stick because the LYS does have pearl in the formula, and oh my goodness, it was just too much to take. I stamped this cheeks, around the brow, under the eyes, and my goodness, I don't need the glow version. Okay, I created my own glow version. I do want Alluring Nude. I still have my eye on that shade. Didn't buy it yet though. Fantastic way to mix these together. And the LYS glow stick, what I purchased from the Sephora sale, I do like a lot. It has nice consistency, it's creamy, it blends well into the skin, and I thought it would appear more glittery chunky because that's what I assumed from the photos when I first saw the product. But when trying it, it melts into the skin. It does not appear like that at all. It will have more of a glow finish than, let's say, the Velvet Pomade from Blooming Romance. If that's not for you, then this product won't be for you. And they also have their higher standard cream blushes that have more of a soft matte finish. So they still have a cream blush product within the brand that's not going to leave behind the same luminosity and dew like the glow stick will. I thought it was interesting to pair these shades together because they're both within that terracotta pinky realm of things, and it worked out sensationally. It's great. And I went in with Blooming Romance. Of course, I had to mention this, included in my April favorites. What an incredible palette. Not only to be used on the eyes, but brows, lips, cheeks, everywhere. I went in with Desire because the Velvet Pomade is more soft matte than what you see or get from the Glow Balm, so many words, the Colourbalm stick, and the cream blush glow from LYS. I then wanted to punch on the Desire Velvet Pomade to maybe smooth out the inner parts of my face and also contribute to this radiant gradient that I had going on the face, and then use the crush powder under the eyes because, ooh, when I saw Danessa do that on one of her tutorials or just one of her IG reels, I was like, this is it. This is what I gotta do too. It has that pink tint to it, but it doesn't appear pastel flat pink under the eyes. Is actually quite brightening, and considering the fact that I already went in with these terracotta shades, followed with the peach, why not put the pastel under the eyes? You know what I mean? Just wrap it all together. And what's fantastic about this palette, which I have a dedicated video on as well as a YouTube short if you want to check it out, I align with these shades. These are within my wavelength of color favorites. These are seamlessly easy to pair with and to cocktail. I don't have to think as much as I do with defining neutrals. Not necessarily a good or bad thing. I think what you align best color-wise will largely determine the ease of use with blooming romance, defining neutrals, or both. Or neither. But as of late, I've been heavily adopting the blush gradient build where you choose more than one or even two blush shades and starting around the brow, bringing it low, bringing it inwards towards the eyes, adding different variations of peach, coral, pink, wine, plum, terracotta. And it's been turning out great. I love what's been happening. A few honorable mentions. Of course, I love the color from the Haus Labs in the shade Fire Moon. This is giving more of a muted peach and lovely just to wear on its own, as well as the Glossier Cloud Paint in the Seamless Cheek color in Swept. This is more of a bronzer or a cream liquid bronzer that I do like. I haven't been wearing it as of late because I've just been in my blush bag. However, I think this would be nice to place first or just by itself and slap on one of the glow maximizers from Dior or tap on my LYS and Pat McGrath Labs concoction. That's a nice combination. And the new NARS blush that I purchased recently in Infatuated. This is more of like a muted plum shade that I love, alongside a fitting pairing. Thank you to Viseart for sending their Reveries, their new Attendu palette, which kind of reminds me of their Paris edit, but this I think leans a little more like lilac overall, and it's not one of their deepest curations, right? I'm thinking Minxette, Le Marais, those have the deeper neutrals included. This is very much spring-like, lightweight, and I actually applied this shade on the inner corner to complete the entire eye look that, again, I started with Pulse from Prada Beauty. And it's not my first time saying this, but the metallics and satins and pearl finishes as well as mattes from Viseart are just exceptional. You cannot go wrong, especially with the metallics that I think are highly underrated. It's until you use them in person and see them under a hard overhead light, you can just see the pearl content in these metallics, or I should say pearl finish shadows. It's incredible because you see it in the pan, but when you apply these on your lids, the twinkle factor that you get from this formula without it feeling heavy or being overly dry. And I think that's why it is a top pick for individuals that have lid texture or drier lid skin, where they don't want the heavier, just grabbier, sparkly textures right out there. You can get the sparkle and the twinkle from a lightweight formula, and that's exactly what Viseart does. And they're easy to apply, they're easy to blend, whether you use a brush or your fingertip. It's just, you cannot go wrong with this palette, or you just can't go wrong with a Viseart formula in general. But I think this is just beautiful and will beautifully pair. Listen, if you were worried about the depth of this and you already have blooming romance, you most certainly can go in with Evermore or EXO first and then apply one of the mattes on top to build a little more depth and intensity on the outer corner or along the lash line. My goodness, because at the end of the day, and I noticed this when acquiring all this new makeup, that I love to cocktail products. I can't tell you how much fun I've been having putting together different makeup products, curating them, and why I filmed my 3-look video, which you can check out if you wanted to see a few of these in action, is a voiceover video that I did highlighting the different makeup curations I put together for the 3 different looks. And it was a blast to brainstorm in figuring out what will pair nicely together, what will be fun to experiment with. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about, just bringing everything together and having a ball with all this makeup that I have, which means we have to end with the exceptionally beautiful Mineralscapes from Byredo. And yes, Byredo is a Swedish brand. I should have remembered that because when I reviewed their palettes from the past, I read that over and over again. And I said Lucia, but it's actually Lucia. Thank you, Lisa, for sending me my Italian lesson through email. It was of great help. And everyone, I'm not opposed to being corrected, especially when you break it down in an email with pronunciations. I love it. I wish I could devote more time to learning more than one language. I could, I'm just being lazy. Let's just be 100% with the honesty here. I think Lucia just did an exceptional job in creating Mineralscapes. If you want to see Mineralscapes in action, you could see that in my original review video and action again in my 3-look video. I also have a short coming up, which I edited today, but I think I'm going to post it today so you can see that short in action. If you want to see more looks from Mineralscapes, I think what was appealing to me the first time I saw the leaks was the overall cool nature of the palette, but the shades themselves, although muted and cool, still has so much character to them. They were unique, and the way Mineralscapes represents the natural occurring colors in the world, in nature, because you do have the more vibrant colors that occur in nature that you see here from Suku's pre-summer collection in Blossom Beat. You also have the more muted landscapes that occur in nature, that you have like the moss greens and the cloudy grays and lavenders and the more muted clay tones. And the formula, talk about easy to slap on. Very much like what I feel about Viseart. I would say the Viseart mattes are not as finely milled. They're still easy to blend, however. I think the Byredo mattes are a little more finely milled and have more kickback because of that consistency. But in terms of the metallics and the pearl content, the twinkle factor, and if you don't like cools overall, because I understand some of you have said, I love this palette, love this color, but that palette and my undertone just won't mix. Depending on your undertone and everything, I get it. It's not going to be a great pairing, but my goodness, if it is, and it is limited edition. And I remember some of you saying you wish you picked up Remembrance in Flora Kalahari. I think it still might be available on Selfridges. I'm not entirely sure. I'll make sure to include that link down below in case that it is. Why April was a great month for me makeup wise is because I knew I was going to buy Mineralscapes before the Sephora sale started. It was one of those things where I knew I was going to buy the next Byredo palette, that they haven't failed me yet. And Isamea's Industrial 3.0 is on the horizon. I saw that she kind of snuck that it was arriving soon on one of her IG posts. Don't know when, however. Wouldn't it be interesting to see how 3.0 turns out, how it compares to her previous two, and how it will compare to Mineralscapes? Because out of the two, I love Industrial 2.0. 2.0 is just incredible. And wouldn't it be an insane pairing to Mineralscapes? Because some of the duochrome she has in there, you could pair with the cloudier purples, the cloudier lavenders in here, as well as like the mossier olive greens. I know it's too much to take, don't even think about it. And you could tap patina on any of these shades to up the twinkle factor as well. It just makes me tingle thinking about it. That might have to be a separate video. I think I'm going to film that video. Also, I wanted to rank Viseart Attendu palettes because I adore this format. I love the edit format as well. That is more travel friendly because it is smaller, but it does contain smaller shadows, but the same amount of shadow pans. I want to rank the Attendu lineup because I think this is one of Viseart's best curations in terms of eyeshadow palette design and color stories, and how I will reveal my top 3 Viseart Attendu palettes. I'll make sure to do it soon, just in case they release another one and then have to do the ranking all over again. But I would like to create it now, slap that on the channel, just so I can reacquaint myself with Viseart, remembering the Attendus that are in their collection and ones that are limited edition are no longer available, how those are going to fit in the ranking. Ooh, is gonna be fun. So those are my upcoming videos, as well as the new Natasha Denona powder foundation. I'm gonna film right after this, actually. It arrived earlier than expected, which I'm thrilled about, but because I was already in April phase filming mode, I thought that was the only video that I would film. But no, we're gonna take this off and slap this on. So I'll see you in that video. I'm not entirely sure which one will upload first, but I will see you in both, and we'll meet you in those comments. Until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, Mineralscapes Industrial 2.0 mashup, or the Natasha Denona powder foundation review video. Take care, and I will see you again soon.